Hello, hello, everyone. It's Erica Reddick here with I Love Your Money, bringing you another great conversation, if I do say so myself, with another expert in his field, and that's why I think these conversations are so great, you guys. I want to bring you experts in their field related to something that's going on in your business because here's the deal. Here's the deal. Let me just get straight to the point. I'm not even going to be cute, you guys. I'm bringing him in because insurance has been something that I never really thought was going to be like a problem for my business. I've always, for all of my clients, for every one of my businesses, for my home and my auto, I can just like call somebody up and be like, boop, beep, boop, beep, boop, boop, and be, hey, I need some insurance, yo. And they're just like, here's your insurance. So for the first time this year, not only did I struggle to get insurance for one of my clients, but we saw insurance companies pulling out of whole states. I think State Farm, if I'm correct, and our guest today is gonna correct me, pulled out of California completely. Some other insurance companies are pulling out of other states. It's pretty crazy. But if you have insurance on your business or anything, you've seen your rates skyrocket. Now, we're used to seeing that with health insurance, with our supplemental insurances like dental and things. We see those things go up every year. But normally, we don't see this big of a bump. And again, I didn't know there was times that you might not even be able to get a business or a building insured. So, without, listening to me talk much longer because I'm not the expert, I'd like to bring in Marcos Esparza, my friend, my good friend Marcos Esparza. Sir, thank you for being with me today.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I'm actually more excited about being on the podcast and even talking about insurance because I finally get to do something creative with the amazing, beautiful Erica Reddick.
Oh, you are so sweet, Marcos. So Marcos Esparza, farmers insurance agent in Round Rock. Now you do insurance, you do investments, right? So you do a few really important things related to business and
Hmm.
retirement planning strategy.
Hmm.
Now, without giving away too much information, you and I called you and I said I got this client and it's one of my clients and I love my clients, right? Like they're my
Babies.
little children and I take care
Yes.
of them. And I trust you, Marcos. You're great. You have good staff, you're competent. And we have had just a heck of a time getting this client insured.
Hmm.
I didn't realize that like if you were just out in the country, that might be enough to not get insured.
Yep.
And so now that I guess maybe I should have known, but why don't you talk a little bit? Why don't you introduce the topic a little bit? Tell our listeners what has happened in the last couple of years that has radically changed the insurance
Yeah.
business.
I think it's first to establish insurance sometimes has an air as it's a nonprofit, like as if we're the Salvation Army coming in to help out during the time. And there is a part of it that is true. And I think
uh,
that's what ends up being there's a heart challenge with clients and insurance companies. They think we're
mm,
big bad insurance companies. The challenge is that we are for profit and we do want to be there for when the moment arises, when there's a claim, and there's never such a thing as a fun claim. All claims are hard, from
bad,
the smallest to the
bad, bad,
hardest.
bad.
And then we want to be there for you. The challenge is that you got to have insurance companies that are profitable.
Mm,
And so then you have these clients who pay a premium and they want to make sure that they're covered during their time. But the challenge is lately, this answers your question, is that we're seeing a lot of rate come through because of weather catastrophes, in
mm,
hyperinflation.
mm,
Legal expenses are going up, medical expenses going up, the cost to underwrite, or which is a fancy way of saying to figure out how to price a risk,
yeah.
is all going up. So expenses are just going up. And so, how do the insurance companies become profitable? Well, one of the levers they can push is increasing premiums. And another level that they can, or another button that they can push is restricting what we can write. They
What?
look at certain areas. Mhm.
Yep.
So in your case, we had a client that was out in a rural area. there was a lot of challenges. That it was just this perfect storm, no pun intended, that was happening with that client. The area, the type of business, the insurance that they had, the building, they were doing some new building, the fire hydrant, the line code, the distance to the fire department. And so some insurance companies were like, "Hey, we love you, Marcos, and we love your client, but we're just no longer offering insurance for that type of client in that area." So
Yeah.
it's very limited on who you can go with. The premiums are high, the restrictions are high.
Yeah.
So it's challenging, and obviously the consumer feels it the most.
Well, and I think what you said is so important there is, it is a business. You do have to be profitable.
Mhm,
And when let's take a microcosm, right? Let's just talk Texas.
mhm.
How many hailstorms have we had? Eh, How many additional hailstorms, inordinate amount of hail damage to roofs are you seeing right now in comparison to, say, when you first started in insurance?
Ooh, that's a great question. It's high. It's more than we can count. There's so many small micro hailstorms, and then you see the big, large, massive ones that come.
Yeah.
Every other roof is being replaced. And actually, the thing that cost us more money than the hailstorm, which is the frequency and the severity of the hailstorms, has gone up since
Yeah.
I started in 2004. So now it's 20 plus years in the business. And yes, the firestorms. We never saw that. We've had now a
Oh,
tornado
wow.
I live in Round Rock, Texas. We used to not have tornadoes. Now that's a thing. And then the biggest thing that cost us the most was the ice storm that we had
Oh,
years ago.
yeah. 2 years in a row. I mean, we had the really big epic one. What was that? 23? No, 22. What the
Yes,
heck
it
year
was
was that?
right before COVID. It was 2021. It was the
Oh,
ice
that's
storm.
right.
Yeah, and then oh, it was right during COVID. Yeah, the
Yep.
snowmageddon is or snowbiz.
Yep.
We talked it.
That
The thing about an
was
ice storm
terrible.
that most people don't realize, you can have a Category 5 hurricane that hits Houston or Corpus Christi, but it's localized to that one area, and it's a very high, expensive metropolitan area. But an ice storm affects all over Texas, all the cars, all the homes, all the businesses, and people are
Oh.
loss of wages. We have to pay for every day that the doors are closed. There's a payout that we make in addition to replacing the piping
Oh,
in the building, the
wow.
flooding. So it's exponentially expensive on top of everything else. When inflation is up, the cost of labor and material has gone up.
Well, and
Medical. Go ahead.
it's sorry for interrupting. No, that's one of the things people don't understand, that when you hear an inflation number, and even let's say we had inflation of just 4%, which we didn't, because it was much higher, particularly in building products and all that other stuff. But let's just say inflation was 4%.
Hmm.
That is down the supply chain. Okay. So if you're the insurance company and you're having to pay out the rebuild, you're having to pay that inflationary price on the materials, on the labor, on the administrative costs, like the down the line.
Oh yeah. And
So
then
it's
the contractor is going to put their profit in place as well. So it's
correct.
the consumer is going to feel it for sure.
And so, what is it? Can you speak to a little bit about why some was it State Farm that pulled out of California? Did I get that right?
That is correct.
And can you share a little bit about what that was about?
Yeah, well, and we're not immune to it too. I don't know if you remember the mold crisis that happened in 2000. Farmers was pulling out of Texas for the home insurance industry back in 2000,
Oh
and then
Lord.
State Farm. And so we were around that time when we started our agency. We were starting during one of the hardest
Oh
moments during the
no.
and that was, I don't know if you remember that. We do contractors would say if there's mold, there's gold. The courts ruled that an HOB contract, this kind of gets into the weeds, had to pay for any type of mold remediation. So
Oh wow.
contractors would gut the entire home, quarantine the home with this white tarp. This is 20 plus years ago. So
Oh yeah, I wasn't here for
I
that.
don't know if people remember that, but anyway, so we were getting to a place where farmers were like, sorry, this is now no longer a profitable business. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
And so,
Because yeah, I mean, obviously you're basically rebuilding a person's house at
oh
that
yeah,
point.
Yeah, and again, the courts ruled that there was a contract called an HOB that's regulated by the Texas Department of Insurance. There's an A and a B. Now we all have, each company has submitted their own form that gets regulated by the Texas Department of Insurance, so that gets even more confusing. By the way, there's a consumer website where you can go into called helpinsure.com, where you can not just do a comparison by premium, you do a comparison by the contract, because there used to be just
Mm.
two back in the day, an A and a B, and the B was the one that was all risk, saying that everything was covered except for what's specifically excluded by the policy. Anyways, the
And
courts
it, hold on, it was helpinsure.com.
helpinsure.com.
Okay,
It's
I'm going to put it in
part
the
of
chat.
the OPEC, OPIC, not the oil, but Office of Public Insurance Council,
Okay.
OPIC.
All
That's
right.
the one of the branches with a regulatory Texas Department of Insurance. It basically protects. It's a consumer protection firm within that same industry, with
Okay.
that same regulatory firm. That can then compare the contracts. Because some people, when they shop for insurance, they're always shopping for price, but very few consumers shop for coverage and service. So there's
Mm.
three pillars that we let clients focus on. Everyone's looking at
Yep.
price, service, and coverage. And I'll tell you, there's very, very few companies that are good at all three. And I
Yeah.
know we're biased. We try to be good at the price, but we're not going to want to be the most expensive. We're not going to want to be the most cheapest, because we want really good coverage, because you're going to want to have that when crisis or catastrophe strikes.
Yep.
And then also, we want to be a good service, which has to do with the agency and also the claims department and the adjusters and the entire industry, or insurance company helping you out. You never know how good your insurance is until you actually have to make your
Yeah.
first claim. And then you hope and pray and you cross your fingers that, oh, I hope that that policy that I got was going to help me. And we say, do you want to save a little bit of money and pay a whole lot of money later when there's a claim? Or do you want to pay a little bit more money and then save a whole lot of money when there's a
Yeah.
claim? Which one gives you more peace of mind? And some clients, they won't listen to you. They only care about the price. Some clients will care about the coverage and the service, and they're willing to come up on the price a little bit.
Yeah.
So, we're going to try to do what we feel like is right. We do have an arrows and emissions policy that we want to make sure that we don't have to use. So we really do care about the client. And at the end of the day, we're okay with losing business
Yeah.
if we do the right job, because it's so tempting to want to just sell a policy, and then you end up just putting stuff on the wall, hope they stick, and then there's a claim, and it gets nasty, and the customer's like, "What did you sell me?" And we don't ever want to do that.
No, definitely not. So what kind of advice can you give for our viewers who are, feeling the pinch, like seeing
Mhm.
their insurance premiums go up? Like what are some things that people can do? Like let me back up. Are there things people can do to help
Yes.
mitigate costs?
Yes, I think it's one, just understanding what's going on. This podcast, I'm sure, is very helpful. But there's three things: your coverage, your discounts, and your deductibles.
Mm,
Have a candid conversation with your insurance agent.
mm,
If you don't have an insurance agent, the call center, but you want to go over the coverages. Sometimes you're getting more than you need.
mm,
Sometimes you don't need everything. Sometimes you'll find that you got some gaps and you actually do might need something, but go
yeah,
over the coverages. There might be something to do there. The deductibles, that's always an easy button to push or a lever to push up or down to make your premium go up or down. That you're basically transferring more of the risk on yourself. So therefore in trade, you get a lower premium.
of
And then the
course.
next thing is discounts. There used to be, I don't know if you remember back in the day, everybody used to advertise how many discounts we would have.
Yes.
They kind of come away from that because it has this different air. But discounts, you want to look at every single discount, and then maybe there's a fourth thing which kind of goes with the discounts is bundling.
Mm,
You want, we have a saying in our agency that we want all of it or none of it. We're not really we're not really competitively priced just to do a one-off auto insurance
mm,
policy. That's probably not the type of client that's going to fit. We're
yeah,
looking at doing their auto, the home, the life, the commercial, their investments, which is my favorite part. Not only are
yeah.
we were protecting your assets, we want to help you grow your assets, which is a lot funner conversation to have with our clients, by the way. But we can get into that later if you want. But those are a few things: coverages, discounts, deductibles, bundling your insurance, going through a review, an annual review with your client each, or with your agent each year.
Yeah.
making sure that you're going to get the most competitively priced policy.
And that you're properly covered. So that was one of the things that I have found that, let me I am not a person, at least not at this stage in my life, that is more concerned about price, right? Like you were talking about the three pillars.
Mm,
I'm more concerned about service and coverage, right? Because I've been through enough to know that if the service is not good, it doesn't matter what the price is, and
right.
that's one of the things I really appreciate. People, I love this new commercial out. It's like, oh, well, did you know that like a big percentage of your auto insurance goes to the person, your agent, instead of the insurance? And I'm like, yeah, because when there's a problem, I want to call a human being. I don't want some call center in some place that's not America where they don't care about me.
Right.
And there's no like, oh, let me talk to the underwriter. I feel like one of the things you really do, or what I see you do, is like you really go to bat for your customers and try to figure out how can we make something work when there's not a cookie cutter for it.
Yeah, it's challenging because there's very few solutions that are out there, and you do have to think out of the box. And our agency offers multiple carriers, different insurance companies, so that's a really big blessing.
Yeah.
Not only are we part of a captive insurance company, we also can go outside and place business outside if it makes sense. So we're able to come up with some solutions, but it's a matter of having an agent, and by definition, an agent is an advocate for both the client and the insurance company. They're an intermediary
Mm,
between the two. We represent the company. We also represent the client, and sometimes we're going to be able to lean on one more than the other, depending on what's going to be best for the situation.
yeah.
And sometimes it can be challenging because sometimes the customers don't know, and sometimes the insurance company doesn't know my client, and that's where agents come
Mm.
into play. And with AI, and now with like companies that go direct where they're saying you don't need agents,
Oh
it's
God.
very interesting. We feel very secure with our job stability because the truth is we're still needed by so many, because we don't just do auto or home insurance, where yes, there's no big secret, there are companies where you don't need an agent for. But what we're going to do is do auto, home, life, commercial, health. We're going to be an advisor for
Mm.
just you, and then also do investments and retirement. We're going to get a warm hand and a hug. We give hugs in our agency, so hopefully have hang-ups about hugs. We hug when you come in. You're going to get someone that you can talk to.
Mm.
Where sometimes old school is the best, most effective way to be able to handle and manage. We still embrace technology and tech, and
Mm.
we do AI,
Yeah.
Zoom calls, and all that stuff. So we're also embracing that. But the idea of having an agent, an advisor, someone that's going to be there for you and hold your hand through the process is irreplaceable.
Yeah. There's nothing that replaces good customer service.
Yes, that's right.
Okay. And so one other thing that I found, I find this so fascinating. And I bet you have these conversations all the time.
Okay.
Uh, Recently with another client, I was like, I know you're trying to get cheaper insurance. This was not a you. You are not their agent.
That's okay.
But I know you want to get cheaper insurance, but if you don't properly insure things for this, essentially what the person was trying to do was get personal insurance on equipment that is used in the making of money for their
Okay.
business.
Yeah.
And I was like, if you do that and you have a claim and then they find out that this is used for business and you have a personal policy, there's a good chance they will not pay out your policy. They
Right.
will not pay it out. So, can you talk a little bit about my I tell my clients all the time that they need to be honest, right? Like that's in my line of work, right? It's better to just be honest and straightforward because the government is going to find out eventually anyway, and it's going to
Mhm.
be way worse if you wait.
Yep.
Right? So, but can you tell people, like, I want them to hear from you why it's so important to be honest when they're getting their stuff insured.
Yeah, no, because it
and
matters.
thorough.
Yeah, it matters if there is a claim. Now, here's what's interesting is I'm not an adjuster. That's a different license. An adjuster actually works for the company for the most part, where I'm an independent contractor that's an agent that represents the
Mm,
company. So when it comes to a claim, the adjuster actually, they're like the umpire of a baseball game. They're the one who's going to make the call, and it's their call that
mm,
matters. Now, whether you agree with it or not, that's a whole nother issue.
yeah.
But they're going to look at the policy. They're going to look at the claim situation. They're going to see what triggers the policy. And if there's stuff there like a personal
Mm,
item, I'm sorry, excuse me, a commercial business policy item that was on a personal policy and the policy was written incorrectly, either by because the client didn't disclose or
mm,
the agent was trying to put a square peg in a round hole. Sometimes the agents can be part of the issue. We're not
oh,
immune to a little bit of like trying to sell a policy so that we can put a little extra money in our pocket. So, you got to be careful of that. But
okay. And
then,
that's so hold on. And that's why you said earlier that it's not worth selling somebody a policy that doesn't fit. That's where that comes
yeah,
from.
and we have insurance for my insurance agency. So if it's like a doctor who goes into surgery and then all of a sudden decides to make a malpractice event where you're having knee surgery and he replaced an elbow, that's going to be a problem, and you're probably going to get a lawsuit. Right? So we have insurance for that. Now, thank the Lord, knock on wood, we have never had an errors and omissions claim. We've never had a
Yeah.
malpractice policy, and we want to keep it that way.
Yeah.
Why? Because we want to have a good record. We want to have a clean slate. But at
Yeah.
the end of the day, the client also has the appropriate policy. And what that might mean, Erica, we might sell it and structure it and propose it to the client a certain way and actually lose the sell,
Mm,
and that's okay. I have peace in my mind that if we do it right and we don't get the sell, it's going to come back to us in tenfold in another way. Or maybe the client's grumpy and is like, gosh, I got to pay this. I got to do it this way. I could have trimmed this and that. And then the claim comes and he's like, holy smokes, I drank the Kool-Aid. I
yeah.
am now understanding why to be insured properly matters.
Yeah.
So, you just always stay true and straight. Now, have I made mistakes? Yes, there's no such thing as a perfect person or a perfect business. But
Mm,
one thing we pride ourselves is that when we do make a mistake, we own it and we use it as an opportunity to repurpose it to make ourselves even better than before. And
yeah.
that's the companies I like to do business with. I don't like to do business with perfect companies. I'd like to do business with people that are willing to be a human, that are willing to do the right thing, even when they make a mistake.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's probably more philosophical than anything
No, that's great. But that's one of the things that's so important is, you and I are both in a position of that requires a tremendous amount of trust.
else. Hmm.
And it requires a tremendous amount of transparency from our clients,
Right,
because if they don't tell us the truth, we can't properly defend them
right.
or help them, right? Whether it's getting their books correct and making sure all those things are accurate, so they make financial decisions, making sure they have the proper coverage, so that if anything, God forbid, happens, they have it. And like, it's only as good as the information we get from our clients.
Right.
And what I found a lot of times is they might be afraid to show their warts, some problem that they have from the past or something that they've done wrong or whatever, some mistake they've made. And
Right.
they don't want to tell you. And then it's like, well, yeah, but this actually really affects X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And so now these things are not correct, and actually, and so that pride,
Yep.
right? What else would you, I guess other than pride, what would you call that
Yeah. I mean,
that keeps people from like telling, like,
it's
being
it's my therapy talk now, talking coming out. It's you're not valuable unless you're vulnerable, and being vulnerable
mm,
is really scary. It's literally bearing your soul, and now your rib cage is disappeared, and all your most inner parts that are very sensitive are exposed, and you can actually say, here I am, and you can
mm,
wound me, you can weaponize this information against me,
yes,
or I can say thank you for trusting me. And not only do I value now, I'm actually going to make it even better for you. You're not valuable unless you're vulnerable. And when we can get
Mm,
to the truth of things, then we can cover you a certain way. And I'm like, here's what's really cool is I will start with vulnerability first. I'll tell the good, the bad, and the ugly about myself. Because the
yeah.
truth is, I need to know the good and the bad and the ugly about what's going on with your health or your business or your investments or everything in
Mm,
between, whatever we insure, because we need to know it all so that we can then get to the real truth and then
yeah.
insure it the most proper way. And then at the end, we're going to also be bonded between that client now, but then we're also doing it the right way. I've seen it all, heard it all. There's
Yeah.
nothing that people tell me that isn't crazy. It's just now, are you willing? Do you feel safe to talk?
Yeah.
And how can I promote that safetiness? And the truth is, what we do is actually we start off with being vulnerable with our clients first. And we simply say, hey, I'm Marcos. Let me tell you everything about you. Let me tell you all the things I've done. And let me tell you about my life, my personal life, and my kids and my personal story. And then next thing you know, we're bonded connection. And then there's that safety to where then they can feel like, okay, this guy's a real human being. He's relatable.
Yeah.
And now I can maybe share some of those things and not be willing to like hide and be prideful and shame or blame and all that that can keep you from not divulging the truth. So it's funny,
Yeah.
all your personal stuff that you've grown in and learned, you can actually apply to your business and actually make it to your advantage.
Yeah, I love that. And I think you hit another common thing that I talk about, which is everybody has money baggage.
Hmm.
Okay. And it does not matter what how you were raised. It doesn't matter, what economic circumstances your parents were in. Like everyone has preconceived notions about money,
Right.
about what it does or doesn't do, or what it can or can't do, whatever it is. And that's another thing that you're dealing with on both ends of the spectrum, right? Like because you're trying to protect assets, that money, those things, but you're also trying to grow them. And so you're seeing it on both sides.
Yeah.
That kind of fear and that emotion that people can be very unconscious uh
Yes.
of.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's actually a real deal. Like people can actually show up with opinions and matters and not even realize it because it's so deep within their like DNA of
Mhm.
how they're afraid and so they will keep things guarded and won't share things. And so, but you can easily tell like I mean, we take care of clients from all spectrums, from
Yeah.
all income levels, and we're willing to work with all of them. And so sometimes you see people that are very disclosing about how they use their money, and usually, and you may know this, how you use your money
Uh-huh.
basically shows you your priorities of where you
Mm.
feel is most important to you. Like where you spend your money is usually how you prioritize your life.
Yep.
And so, when people are wanting to protect certain things with different insurance, I mean, you've got jet skis and boats and yachts and homes and rental
Mm.
properties and even lives. We do life insurance, which is your biggest asset is the future income
Yep.
that your family would be losing if something happened to you. And
Yep.
so we talk about, oh, well, we've got a family that actually really cares about protecting the people's lives. We got a family that cares about protecting their business. And so you do see some things that are like where people focus on certain priorities versus where maybe another customer is like, hey, at the end of the day, I've got this brand new car and I only want liability because the truth is it's not important to me. Right. And so it does show a reflection of their character.
Yeah, isn't that funny? Isn't that so funny? Okay, so what are your closing words, closing remarks for our viewers today before we let them go?
Well, I think it's funny. When we're talking to clients all the time, all we really want to do is we don't sell, we help. We
Mm,
genuinely really want to help. So we have a saying in our office: stop selling, start helping. So if you ever want us to look at your situation, we'll be the first one to tell you that you don't need help. And if you have, we have three different agencies. Oh, sorry, three different agents in our agency. We do speak Spanish and English as well, and we're able here in Round Rock, Texas. Although we can do all the entire great state of Texas and help you with your businesses, your home, your auto. We're in health insurance right now, Medicare and health insurance. Fourth quarter, everyone's
oh
talking about health
yeah.
insurance right now. So we can help enrollment ends here pretty quickly. So we're here to help out, and we really, 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 truly, genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, authentically want to help and improve your situation from wherever you're at to getting you further down the path.
Yes, everyone, check out Marcos Esparza, Farmers Insurance in Round Rock. Go check him out. His website and all the details are in the description. And seriously, if you are in business and you have not had your insurance policy reviewed recently, I had a client have a major loss this year, and because they did not have the correct insurance policy, it was not covered. And so it is worth the time, it is worth the energy, and it's free.
It's free.
It's free. Y'all,
No
it's
brainer.
free. Okay. It's just a little bit of your time and a little bit of your energy. So don't be a bum. Protect yourself. Call Marcos.
And in the light of Thanksgiving, I want to say, Ericka, I am grateful for you and your husband and all the energy and positivity that you put out to the world. You matter, you make a difference, and you offer something to this world that no one else can, Ericka. I'm proud of you, and I'm so grateful to be part of this podcast. We
Thank
did
you,
it.
Marcos. Thank you, Marcos.
You're
I
welcome.
love you. You're
I
freaking
love you.
awesome. You're the best. You
Thanks.
guys can see why he's my freaking insurance agent. And we'll say goodbye with the commercial for my book, y'all. All right. See you next
Bye,
time.
guys.
Hi there, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ericka Reddick. I'm a fractional CFO and also known as the Fixer. So if you are a small business owner and you're trying to understand your finances, or you're an entrepreneur and you know that you need to understand some things before you get started, Audit Armor, Fortifying Your Financials is an excellent book for you. Grab your copy today, grab the freebies, and make sure to stay tuned because we've got some great webinars and other things for you coming up.